Bros grossed $4.8 million at the weekend box office. $4.8 million. Despite projections that it was estimated to make between $8 and $10 million, Billy Eichner shared a Twitter thread that stated, though the film is well liked by audiences, it is getting rave reviews in Rotten Tomatoes, homophobia played a role in the film not making more money over the weekend. Well, we kind of wonder if that's really, it's that simple. Question number 6. With a Bacardi ginger snap shot,
nice.
I'd swallow that. I'm shocked the LGBTQ plus community didn't come out literally for bros.
Not shocked at all.
Not shocked.
You're gonna take a shot?
No. I'm shocked.
I'm just gonna say I didn't go see it, and I'll be very honest with you. I don't like Billy Eichner. I've never liked him. I don't think he's funny. I don't think any of his projects, I've never enjoyed any of them. So when the movie got announced, I was kind of like, I love it, but also like, I don't
But you wouldn't even see it just
You're
because
so
of the representation, or because
So homophobic of you.
Could production bring in the holy water? We're getting ready to have an exorcism.
I just don't. I know. I mean, because the thing is,
That's
for me,
fair,
is that
though.
like even like the clips I saw, right? And this is another one of my problems with the movie to begin with. Like the clips that I saw, I'm tired of
Trope.
not just tropes. I'm tired of lead white guys being the front of everything, and it made me. I think what turned me off the most was the scene in the trailer where all of them around the table arguing, and it was like, here's one group, here's one group, here's one group. It's like you're showing us all of these groups, you're showing us all the possibilities, but yet we're focused on this same story.
But that's a real thing. Did you watch Fire Island where there was an Asian American lead?
Yes.
You did, right? So the thing that is bothersome to people is that these are real. This is still a real situation. We're all still very segregated. Lesbians hanging over there, blacks hanging over there. Even in Miami, like Cubans stand over here, Haitians stand over here. It's still a very real thing. So the fact that they're arguing at the table is just still very much representative of our social.
Isn't that mostly because we've been artificially pushed together? We need to create some representation that is greater than any individual representation. So we've pushed everybody together without working as hard to make sure that everyone is pushed together in a way that we all support each other.
Well, that's the problem, the artificial part, not the real part. And I'm with you. I did not go see the movie. Kudos for you for organizing a watch party, but it seems so fake. It seemed not real. It seemed.
But give it a chance, Lumination.
And so the question was the LGBT and LGBT coming out. Well, you can't ask all of us to come out if you're not featuring all of us. Don't give us the token person there, and featuring the same white-centered story.
Okay, but that wasn't the case. You didn't watch the movie.
But you didn't
so
watch
the
it.
movie, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, you didn't watch it.
Sorry about that.
I watched the promo.
There was black and brown folks in there. There was triples. There was drag. There was trans. There was bi.
And who was centered?
The man who made the movie, Billy Eichner, was the center.
Yeah, but
And that's never been done to have a gay rom-com.
No,
That's never been
Right,
done.
we're in the infancy
So
stages.
you're gonna, I'm not seeing myself, so I'm not gonna go support.
It's not
That's
that.
why we don't get ahead in our community.
No, it's
because
not
we're like,
that.
nope, I'm not represented. I'm not represented. I'm not
Wait,
represented
hold
enough.
on. That's not true, because technically, I mean, let's be very real here, right? We've had non-rom-coms, we've had dramatic queer representation. I didn't see the queer community running out for midnight. In fact, I saw the opposite, and we have a movie that won the Best Picture at the Academy Awards. So it is literally we are holding up one specific thing when there have been other things.
Not this big.
But wait a minute, because
Not this
Midnight did
big.
very well thereafter. It didn't hit the box office that hard, but it did well thereafter.
Yeah.
And
And
this
maybe
is gonna be a slow burn as well. But you can't deny that this is still very fun that we have this kind of representation, whether they're white or not. Because eventually we will have a black lead in
When
the
does
role.
eventually come? That's the problem that I have. When does eventually
this
come?
just
when
happened.
the country shows that money will be given to that kind of a film.
You know, I put myself in producer straight role in Hollywood. Would I invest in exactly what you want? Absolutely not. And the reason is because I would hold this up to say, this is why I can't do it. Because it's like being
wasn't supported.
It's a bad roulette game.
Yep.
I can't put it on red or black because I am going to lose a lot of money.
Millions of dollars. I'm gonna lose it because you want to
I
see
just
us, yeah.
can't. There's no way I'm going to invest in this because this community is not going to support. You know what's interesting to me? If this would have been a Medea movie, if it would have been one of the movies that he has produced, which I think he borders on genius at times for the black
And maybe he will.
community. Well, when he comes out, he will. And that's a joke.
It is a
Based
joke.
based on reality, but go on.
Okay,
Based on
but
reality,
my
go on.
point is, if that was a movie that he had produced, Oprah would be jumping on it, and the black community and the black church would be jumping on it, and it would have a $22 million opening weekend because the black community would say, "This is important for our community. I support it."
But do you think
we don't do that in our community?
But do you think it was a countrywide
Yes.
neglect, or do you think it was
Everywhere.
LGBTQ? Right.
And
Well,
I
because
don't want to
again,
blame it.
People were expecting for girls to bring their straight boyfriends to this movie.
Yeah.
Hazme el favor. There is no straight boy that's going to go with
But,
his
yeah,
girlfriend.
You said that last week. What are you talking
But
about?
it's
that last
okay,
time,
but it's the
absolutely.
truth, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It really is. You're not
I'm gonna go
get
see
that-
it tonight. I was just late because I partied way too much last week. I'm going to see it tonight.
You're going to like it. You're really going to
but
like
here's
it.
the thing: is I'm tired of Hollywood putting up like the more palatable version, right? Like we always see that it's like whoever is closest to the center in all of these marginalized groups, whoever's the least marginalized is the one who's gonna get that
Max, is
representation.
it possible
over and
for
over and
both
over.
observations to live in the same space?
I-
Wait,
but
let me
we
finish.
see-
What you just said is true, and Al, as producer in Hollywood, is not going to invest in it. Both
Yeah,
can be
right,
true.
exactly.
I agree with you, but I'm not going to invest in it
Like,
because I'm not
I
going to
think
be the
I haven't
trailblazer
seen the movie.
to risk my
I might have
money.
been more likely to go out and see this if there wasn't like the same thing that we always see over and over again. Sure, rom-com format's new.
Sure,
newer,
but you're-
right?
you're setting
But I
a
see
standard.
we have Love, Simon. We have
Yeah.
all of these other queer movies that have consistently had white
But Max,
people.
you're
at the
only
forefront.
proving their point, right?
That's-
You not going and spending money. It's telling producers.
There it
okay,
is.
we can't
Because
do
they,
that.
because they
Spend
need
money.
something
Once again,
new,
like,
and
as a
it's not
producer,
good
like,
enough.
Love
we're gonna-
Simon did very, very well financially in terms of its funding, but there was a kiss. That's the
That's
only
it.
thing. It's
It
implied.
wasn't sold as an
implied.
LGBTQ plus
It-
movie.
it
Once again,
happens to
as
have.
a producer,
Dogma.
right? If we're going to talk about being a producer, as a producer, if I was going to launch a venture like this, I would use a much more bankable star than Billy Eichner.
Yeah, but you
that
have to
was-
pay for
and
it.
that was his own vision. And look, we're always bitching at this table saying, oh, it's bad when they use straight actors to depict gay roles, right? In Bros, it was gay actors playing the straight roles.
Right.
It was
Let me ask you this.
amazing.
How did they market to someone like me? The first episode, the first picture is a white guy talking about saving the world at the LGBTQ center, and his experience with the muscle white guy.
Elimination.
And the party scene with the muscle
I
white
get it.
guy.
I'm moving
And-
faster.
Okay.
The answer to that is their expectation is that the LGBTQ community, exactly Faye's point, will support that even if it doesn't get what you're asking for, because it's an LGBT story. There was no.
There was
But
one.
we-
There was
How did
one
you market
lesbian,
it?
and I still went there to support my community.
Yeah.
There was one lesbian that didn't look like me. They used the ugliest woman ever on the face of Everest to represent my letter.
Okay,
in
how
the
about
acronym.
this though?
Yeah, I still
was
went.
was it good and
It
funny?
was really well
It's-
written, John.
That's the
You'll
thing.
laugh your ass
You'll
off.
laugh.
Why are we shitting on something that's actually good
Well,
content?
Because I'm not in it. Because I'm not in it. I'm
But
not
what
gonna
you're
go.
saying now, though, is
That's not-
different,
no, I
right?
never- I
No, what
never
you're
said
saying
that.
now is
Yes,
clear.
you
If
are.
a person tells me, right, if I hear from somebody that I respect, it's funny, the writing is good, things like that's very different than the first weekend it coming out.
That's very
right?
different from a
And
trailer.
so,
Yeah, fair
and,
enough.
and that's the
Fair
thing.
enough.
If I'm sitting, because remember, first weekend you're basing it on the trailer, you're basing it all.
marketing
If
or
somebody, if
whatever.
a friend of mine, if any of you say,
Okay,
"Oh my
I
gosh,
think
it's
that's
good,
fair.
it's funny,"
I think it's
right?
fair.
Which is
Yeah.
and
But-
that trailer's
and that's
what?
what,
Just
and
a
that's
bunch of white
why
actors.
I don't like
Like-
opening. I really don't like opening weekend types of, like, I know that they have to issue statements and things like that, but the reality is, and this is actually very prominent in our community. Our community doesn't do things homogeneously. A lot of the things that happen in our community, they do it based on word of mouth.
But isn't that
I'm okay with
the
that.
point of this conversation? If it was just black gay men, you have no chance. If it is just white lesbian women, you have no chance. If it is just bearded drag queens, you have no chance.
You might have a chance.
So as a result, no, none.
But those people
The
we
only
support.
way that we elevate ourselves is we collectively say, I understand your story and I'm going to support it regardless. I understand your story and I'm going to support it regardless. I'm going to understand your story and I'm going to support it regardless. And therefore, all of us do that. The point of this opening weekend is we don't do that.
But we've been supporting that narrative. Let me ask you this. So in the promos, TGS Madison is in the movie, right?
Yes.
So Is she on Good Morning America? Is she out there doing interviews? Are they putting her front forward
They
to allow that?
absolutely are.
So let me say. So if they are, I'm happy. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
All I saw was that one character and those one episodes and those marketing talking about that one specific thing. Now I agree with you. I might take your word and say I might go visit it. However, on first glance, all I see is what I always see in any movie.
I compare
always,
and
all the
contrast
time.
your observation of the observation I've
Because I
already
haven't
made.
seen yes, Madison
If
anywhere
this
publicly.
weekend of Bros would have been a Tyler Perry film, in a black-centric Tyler Perry film, this outcome would be different.
Because we have people in that characters we identify with. We have that mother. We have that person. We have that lived experience.
But wait,
Yeah, but it's
hold
mostly,
on.
it's
How?
mostly black.
Wait. This is actually apples versus oranges.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
If we're gonna talk about
Yeah.
comparing it to a community, Tyler Perry has a following that he's built up over like 25 years.
Where do we
of
start?
He started doing local
Where
theater
do
first.
we
No,
start?
where does LGBT
T.S.
start?
Madison
But I'm saying,
is in
we're-
this representing. Some people wouldn't even understand. Is this a drag queen? I don't understand. This person is trans? I don't understand. Who cares if you understand? You are embracing Madison's embracement in the movie.
She's not getting any kind of footage on the forefront to allow her to show her
There's
talent.
no one in the LGBTQ community that doesn't know who Madison is.
She's not on Good Morning America.
I haven't seen
She's not
TSA
on
actually
CBS
do
News.
any
They're
advertisement
not
for this.
pitching this at Good Morning America. They were pitching it as
To us.
He was on.
They're
They were pitching it
it
to
to
us,
us.
and we're not picking it up.
and we're not
and we're
picking
not.
it up.
But again, if you want, marketing says when this gentleman he was on CBS Mornings, and he talked about this being the first gay rom-com. Why not include all segments of this movie or parts of it so that way he can
White
get marketing
America
to-
doesn't want to listen
the
and
thing.
see Madison.
That's the thing.
They're not going to do it.
So you
It's
just
back
mad
to
at
my
me that
point.
Black America doesn't want to support
That's
white
the thing,
America.
No,
because they're doing it in
I'm
a
not.
homophobic
You're
way,
doing it
where
in a
you're-
homophobic way.
Right.
That's nothing about what I just said was homophobic.
It most certainly
What I
is,
said was,
because
I didn't
if it's
see
not
my
our
self
individual
there.
brand, I don't identify with it, so therefore I'm not going to open my money,
Guaranteed
my
you've
wallet,
seen
and
plenty
spend
of
the
other
money.
It's
movies
not an
that don't
individual
represent
brand.
your-
It has
No.
nothing to do with the brand.
Yeah, my
It has to do with if I'm going to take money out of my wallet, number one, I want to be entertained by something.
Yes.
If, and like I said, this is my own personal opinion, if I legitimately don't like the star of a
Wait,
movie,
let me give you an example.
Okay.
On Queer News Tonight last week, I think you were sitting there. We reported at Queer News Tonight that the radical right was review bombing Bros. And they, without having seen it, they were going into Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb and writing horrible review after horrible review. Why? Because they don't want anybody to see it.
Because they're haters.
They're haters.
still didn't matter.
How is the difference? They actively didn't support and hate the movie, and we inactively hate and don't support the movie.
And
What's
they
the
almost stopped
difference?
playing the trailer in certain areas of the country, and they forced them to. Contractually, they had to. But if not, they wouldn't have shown it in Middle America.
We have to have a Billy Eichner and a McFarlane to put it front and
But
center.
we've been seeing queer movies for
But what movie are
quite
you going to
some
give me?
time.
Brokeback from a million years ago?
Well,
What are you
I'm
giving me
saying,
something?
Have you
Love
seen a movie-
Simon.
have
First
you
of all, Love
seen any
Simon
other
definitely
movie
was
that
marketed
is
as an
not all
LGBT film.
African
It was
American
an
or
LGBT
Native
book,
American?
and it was an
Hold on,
LGBT
guys. Everybody's talking. Hold on.
Wait,
Everybody's talking.
You were tokenized in Love, Simon. Love, Simon is a
Right.
terrible movie.
It is.
And
it
the
is.
reason
but
it's
the thing, but what I hate about
Well,
Love
how
Simon,
can you defend
what
it then?
I'm not defending Love Simon. What I'm saying is, Love Simon was a tokenization. They were like, we're gonna take the most palatable queer story that we can. This is our experiment for getting queer stories out into the
Michael,
big box.
You have to start at 1.0. You can't show America 4.0 LGBTQ.
But to Elimination's point, when does the next step come?
The
right?
fact-
when do you
It
get to that
came
point?
Friday
our first
night.
step.
Michael
We're trying.
Eichner
We're
does
trying.
I
scenes
respect that.
with McFarlane where they talk about the anal sex. They show a blowjob with 4 people. You don't see the actual blowjob, but you know exactly what's happening. They joke with each other of going, McFarlane is the masculine top and Eichner is the feminine bottom, until McFarlane goes, I think I'm ready for you to top. You don't see that in Brokeback Mountain. You don't see that in Love, Simon. He experimented beyond experimentation. And the thing that totally pisses me off is none of us know that.
No, and he even says, like, I'm tired of movies where they have gay characters, but they don't show the kiss. The moment they go to kiss, they pull away and frame out to another.
There it is. And if this was Tyler Perry and it was a black theme or it was an X theme or a
But it's
white theme,
different.
no, I'm not going to stop.
You're gonna-
And the reason
you're
is
bringing colors
because
to it, and that's totally different.
it
than
is
the
not. Why is it
I'm
different?
gonna tell you why.
How do you not represent?
Wait,
how are you
I
not
want to hear this in
representative?
3
Because
sentences.
you
Why is
said
it different?
A color thing. LGBTQI is made up of so many different melanins. And so the fact that you're only segmenting the black folks out of this LGBTQ and then now comparing us is unfair.
Your
But why aren't you-
analysis,
but you
your
just said-
analysis is incorrect.
Because
And the
you just
reason
said
your
you
analysis
said you
is
didn't watch the
incorrect
movie.
is you're never going to get what you want. There is no movie ever in history in the future that I can see that is going to focus on a black love story because 2 gay black men is not
So there was a
financial
whole movie
bankable.
based on,
But then,
I
why
think
didn't you
it'll
see?
come.
Hold
I
on.
just don't know when.
But then why didn't you
I think
see
it'll
this
come.
movie?
I personally do think-
2046.
Like this is the saddest piece. Of this entire,
RuPaul is not bankable.
but this is the problem, right? This is once again we are in. If you look at the table, Al, we are talking about a very specific line in the sand right now.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you just identified the line in the sand.
Yes.
So when you're talking to 2 people like us, and you're saying, out of your mouth, you will never see this. You can understand from our
The
perspective.
disappointment is different.
It's-
I do.
No, wait a minute.
It's
Hold on,
not-
wait a minute.
like-
Wait,
Let her
can
finish,
I have
please.
the
Let her
table?
finish.
Can I have the
But-
table
but,
real quick?
but here's the thing, right? So when you say that, we are not saying we're not giving it a chance. All we said was, and that's how this entire conversation started,
all right.
was
Heard.
we didn't go the very first weekend because we were waiting to see.
Got it.
Right?
Okay.
And it has evolved into a statement like that, which, let's be very honest, is quite problematic to say,
Because-
to
And
say
wrong.
that
Well,
you
and
will,
wrong.
you
Well,
will
the reason-
never
yeah,
see
because
that.
the reason why I got hyped up as well was because you said you didn't want to see it because it didn't have your representation.
That's what I heard too.
Right.
That's what I heard.
No, not my representation. I said I only see one specific lead
She
representation.
doesn't like Billy Eichner.
Got it.
Wait.
That would be
Got
a
it,
reason
got
not
it,
to go
got
see
it,
a movie
got
if you
it.
don't like the guy.
That makes sense.
And
That
so
makes sense.
go back a second. When I said we talked about it. I know T.S. Madison is there. I know the other fashion person is there. So I know black folks are in there. They're in the park and they're fighting, and then the rugby people come over. There's a black person there. I
Yeah.
know that. But my
The trouble.
story is what I did not see in all the trailers. That's what I.
No, there was not a black Indian kink leather boy. No, there wasn't from South Florida. No, there wasn't. There wasn't. I'm sorry, right?
That's
Living
what I
on
was getting
Willow
at.
Drive.
But again, I do want to go back a second. So that's the question that's the thing that we need to leave this conversation with. Understanding what me not seeing that and then comparing it to a whole race of people supporting a race of people is very problematic.
It's
You
a
know-
different issue. And the other thing,
And very-
and the other
very
thing though,
different.
but the other thing though
I have
is
to
when you
close the
say
conversation.
when you say this is this is never going to happen or this isn't going to happen for 15 years. If you know that then it doesn't become a first step. This becomes it's just in a continuous cycle of one community, part of my community.
There's someone
One last
over
thought.
and over again. It's never
One
going to
last
get to me.
thought.
Why would I give it a chance?
One
It's
last
never
thought.
going to get to me.
Yeah.
We make a decision that our community and an acronym that has been artificially pushed together stands up for ourselves universally. I'm at unfortunately, privileged white is at the top of that pyramid in terms of influence and power and voice. Clear. But if everyone inside the walls of LGBT artificially pushed together, do not stand up and unite for each other, the haters that are the real haters. It's not the L's, and it's not the G's, and it's not the bisexuals, and it's not the trans. It's outside that acronym that are the real haters. And the proof of that is the front pages of Forbes and New York Times is bros bombs. You're never going to recover from it.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the movie, but the movie's never going to recover because the damage is already done. LGBT is a failure in entertainment, and every major media outlet, Google it. Google bros financial results, and you're going to read 100 stories saying, see, This risk should have never been taken.
And they'll never.
Mind
try
you,
it
it's been
again.
out
And
5
they'll-
days. It's been out 5 days. All right. And come on.
no, it could
I'm
be a
just
slow
telling
burn.
you,
It's been out 5
opening
days,
weekend.
and I think that corporate America is well aware that the LGBT community has a lot of buying power. I think they're well aware of that.
Well, that's the sad part. We have
Max,
billions
I'm
of
telling you,
dollars.
if my money was in Hollywood, there would be no way that I would do it.
But just find the right recipe, because at the end of the day, we did not get to where we are, where we talk about me personally, where a black leather person can be a black leather champion had it not been for someone taking the risk of being that one. So sometimes you have to take that risk over and
And
over
Billy
again.
Eichner was.
He
And
did.
that's fine, but find
$30 million.
find the right recipe.
And let me tell you- let me tell you,
We're
when it
all
comes to
willing to
support-
dismiss what I just said. It's $30 million.
No,
Who
no,
I'm not
cares?
dismissing
no.
it.
But we're
No,
talking
no,
about
I'm not
supporting each
dismissing
other
that.
in this community.
I know how much that is for a movie studio to do. However, I also know that movie studios spend $30 million on shit, or movie studios spend
Catwoman.
not even Catwoman. A movie. I mean, we just
Cats.
watched
Cats.
Cats.
Right.
We just watched Warner Brothers literally take an $80 million movie
Yes.
and they just put it on
Cancel
a
it.
shelf.
Nope.
So it's not that I'm not
Yeah.
discounting that.
Yeah.
But much like I'm saying, there are lessons here, right? And part of the lesson is that we are not a homogenous group, and so
Okay.
part of
Now,
this.
that's the
Right.
real.
That's the lesson. We're not a homogenous group, and you have to remember, and I think that's why it's so, when we touch spaces about things like Tyler Perry and whatnot, I can tell you that is a much more homogenous group. Black church-going people, they identify with everything going on.
If that's true, I've got to move on. If that's true, I've got to move on. If that's true, then back to, well, we probably in any short order will never see what we want, because we will never be able to command enough power and influence to accomplish anything else. Eichner and McFarlane and Universal Studios spending $30 million couldn't do it. And so as a result, I'm sorry, there's not a great lesbian love story rom-com coming, because you can't make it financially successful. There's not going to be a black leather kink movie coming because we can't do it. And first and foremost, I'm only suggesting we can't do it because we won't even stand for ourselves, much less all the haters are outside of our acronym. That's my only point here. My only point. Okay. Next up, wow, did we go? Yeah.
I'm exhausted.
Can someone
Wait.
Like
some more
beyond.
Wait. All
I need
right.
more alcohol. A League of Their Own? Anyone? Or who wants to-
Okay. All right. LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.